Well, today's talk is going to be about leveling out again. So, what does that mean? Well, if you remember when they do paving on major roads, first thing they do is they send the paver down, puts asphalt down, and then steamrollers come and level it all. So, what we're going to have to do is a bit of steamrolling. Where are we going to begin? Okay, the idea comes to me that we're going to have a big shakeup in the world stage, and that means you're going to have the same players running for elections all the time, the same people all the time. I mean, sometimes their faces change, but basically they say the same thing, and they have for generations and generations. What's the point of voting for the same assholes that, have been running the world for generations and generations? To me, it seems like there's no point whatsoever. I mean, not that your vote really counts if you're one out of millions. Sometimes people try and pick the best of the worst. It's interesting that nothing really ever changes except government debt grows, public services get slashed. So who wins? Banks. The cabal, in other words. The 1%. It's not 1%. It's such. That's so wrong because it gets used against the populations. The actual ownership of the controllers of the world. They're not 1% of the world. 12 or 13 families, and then their minions. That's not 1%, folks. It's such a tiny fraction, it's unbelievable. And yet they've got all the control. Last time I heard, I think it was from David Wilcock, the YouTube commentator, there were 100,000 sealed indictments against various people as part of the cleanup of the cabal, which is what they call the owners of all the corporate structures. If you've ever seen a map of the cabal, you'll see that it appears that there's a great number of corporations, but if you trace back the way they're owned and great conglomerates, I don't think even all of these diagrams are as accurate as they could be. But it is very few people that pull the strings for planet Earth. What else do we want to talk about? Well, what should you do if there's an election in your area? Well, of course, it's up to you. For me, I've decided not to vote at all. I've decided that by my participating in these fraudulent elections, I call them fraudulent because I don't get what I want at any time at all. I don't get a candidate that I like, so it's a whole thing is a fraud on me, and I think it's a fraud on you. They just do whatever they're going to do, and no one's ever happy. So it doesn't work, and to say that I consented to this, no, I'm not going to consent to this anymore. I've been done it too many times, and I'm just disgusted every time. So I'm not going to participate. And in essence, I'm saying I wish to withdraw myself from all governing structures whatsoever. And I mean, in real life, I mean, I'm still going to be taxed as long as these governments are around, but I'm not consenting to it. I'm not consenting to it anymore. I'm not going to participate, in the brainwashing that you get when you're in high school, when you learn about the civics and how wonderful it is. And then when you see how it operates and you see the disgusting corruption in it all, you come to the conclusion it's never going to be fixed. It's always going to be the shittiest people that rise to the top. And I'm just not going to vote anymore. It's up to you. But when you put your energy into it, in other words, when you go and you watch the debates and read all the pamphlets and drive yourself to the voting booth, cast your ballot, you are expending your consent to this system. You're consenting to it. And you might say, well, it's the only system I've got. Well, why don't you protest now? Protest by not voting. How are they going to know you're not going to that you didn't vote? It's not about these people that that are on the election ticket that aren't going to know. It's going to be your energy, your vibe. Your energy has not lowered itself to participate in this fraud on humanity. They call it democracy. It's not democracy. It's rule by the few using these systems and mass media. So it's a fraud, it's garbage, and we never get what we want. All we get is rising taxes and just disgust with it all. So that's my take on it. That's part one. I'll come back for part two.